Transition Tuesdays for this Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here. Transition Army, I know you could have been anywhere in this world. I know you could have been anywhere in this world, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my good friends, here on this lovely Tuesday here on New York City, I should say. Welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have an action-packed show once again. I'm so glad you could be here today. Before we start the show, as I normally do, I love to talk about my intentions for the show. And my intention is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transitions. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. So, busy day, busy schedule going on today. Let's see if anybody's on the check-in. Nobody just yet. That's okay. Well, I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot of people tuning in today. But I want to talk about what's on a lot of people's minds, heavy hearts today. Oh, man, you talk about that Buffalo supermarket shooting that took place last Saturday. And if some of you haven't heard about it, I'll kind of recap it. So last Saturday, 18-year-old suspect Peyton S. Drendon, I guess I'm going to try to pronounce it that way. This person opened fire at a top supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York, killing 10 people. So this guy told authorities, and again, this person is 18 years old. That's important here that I really want to go over. This person being so young with this mass shooting. But this person told authorities that he was targeting the black community. And after this, he planned on to continue a shooting rampage and kill more black people as well. So he wanted to do that, go on a really a shooting spree after this first initial one. Glenn Drone has pleaded not guilty to a charge of first-degree murder. He's in custody without bail right now, and he is under suicide watch. So if convicted, this young person, could face a maximum of life in prison without parole. Life in prison without parole. So this is serious here. This is serious. Let me see who's checking in. Oh, man, we got my man Lewis, cousin Lou. What's going on, Lewis? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friend. Welcome. I'm glad you're here, too. Charlie, what's going on? Greetings from Red Wing, Minnesota. Hey, Charlie. Welcome, man. Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. I got my sister cousin on the check-in, too, and a brother. We got both of them together? Wow. I want you both to chime in. I want everybody to chime on this topic here. What's going on, sister cuz? We got Gina joining us. We got Felicia joining us from The Rock. What's going on, Felicia? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Welcome, everybody. Okay. We got a good esteemed panel to talk about some things that's going on here. Again, if you just joined us, we're talking about the Buffalo supermarket shooting. Man, this person was 20, jeez. Person was 18 years of age. 18 years of age with this shooting, this mass shooting. And also I want to state too, the U.S. Department of Justice is investigating this mass shooting as a hate crime and the act of racially motivated violence extremism, that's what it's pronounced, like the extremism. So this is a lot on the plate here. And, this is crazy, but we're seeing this is becoming all too common. And we got the voice of the Jaspers, male and female. Pick and Pop Podcast, Mac Chat. We got my man Smooth on the check-in. What's going on, Smooth? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friend. And also, Uncle Smoothie's Corner. Check for that when Chris decides to put it on there. I think it should be on there every day. I'm just saying, Chris. All right? But, so all this is going on with this mass shooting and all of these shooting, these kids, these are kids. This guy is a kid, 18-year-old kid, shooting people. I mean, man, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, what do you say? This is just a crazy event because again, more and more of these people are younger doing this, and President Biden, he responded on this, and I'm going to read a couple of quotes from President Biden. President Biden says, "Oh, let's just make sure if anybody's commenting just yet. No, yet. Okay, hang on, guys, hang on there, because I want to get your comments on this topic. Okay, everybody joining us, please hang on there. Be ready to send in your comments, okay? Because I got a couple of questions I want to ask the Transition Army, and I think I got a great esteemed group on this check-in here that can really help us out, give us some insight, okay? So President Biden said, white supremacy is a poison. He says it's been allowed to grow and fester right before our eyes. No more, no more. Okay, this is President Biden speaking. We need to say as clearly and as forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy, because ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, that's what this was. White supremacy has no place in America. No place, none. Also, President Biden wanted to say, in America, evil will not win. I promise you, hate will not prevail. White supremacy will not have the last word. The evil did come to Buffalo, and it's come to all too many people, manifested in a gunman who massacred innocent people in the name of hatred and preserved ideology rooted in fear and racism. So I ask you all to start it off, in my esteemed group, hang in there, guys, and I'm going to comment on, let's see what Lewis says, okay? But here's the question I'm going to ask everybody, is this, okay? Because I wrote this down, because I think we need to get some answers to this. Okay, since these kids are being so young, this kid is 18 years old, all right? Is racism a learned behavior? Is it a learned behavior here in the United States? Can you be born racist? So was this kid born racist, or was it a learned behavior in this particular case here? Or is racism, can it be passed down like a trait, like a family trait, like an heirloom, you know, from generation to generation? Okay? We got Lewis. Lewis says it's open and shut. And isn't Rikers full of kids? Yes, absolutely. Rikers full of kids. And Rikers Island, for everybody out there, Rikers Island is a jail in New York City. Buffalo is way up there in New York City. So, the jails are full. Yes, Rikers is full, and Rikers is so notorious, Lewis, they're going to close Rikers soon. So that's how notorious it is, and it is full of kids, absolutely. Gina says, Sister Cuz, who is this brother and sister team we got here, and I'm really proud to have these two here. Gina says, yep, it's a learned behavior, but I do believe it may be housed in one's DNA. Talk more about that, Gina, I like that. Charlie says, I absolutely believe racism is learned. Absolutely, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with these comments, guys. Learned behavior. Here's an experiment you can take a look at, how our racism can be learned. Now, take a look at it. You have kids, you have babies playing with one another, okay? Babies, all right? They don't they don't have a racist bone in their body, they're playing, But when they grow up and then, they're following different ideologies and stuff like that, then it could be a learned behavior, like Charlie is saying, So it could be a combination of all of it. It's just a shame. It's just a shame, man. And I'm glad you guys are responding to this too. Anybody else, please respond on this. Is this a learned behavior? Can you be born racist? That's the other question I have. And also, can it be passed down like a family heirloom? Can that be done? And here's another thing I want to really get everybody's response to. And I don't think this is a coincidence. But why is it when you have these mass shootings, and what goes on, these people getting, people being murdered? Why? Now, I don't think I know it's not a coincidence, but I'll throw it out there. Why is it these people who do these mass shootings, they're able to be They're not shot themselves by police officers. They're not shot. They're brought in for questioning. Why is that? Why is that allowed to happen? Okay, I'm not an eye for an eye type of guy, but Jesus, I mean, the statistics are alarming with that. You have this guy who killed 10 people, is able to be brought in and questioning. This guy had full army gear on, and protective gear, but he is brought into for questioning. Whereas other people, black and brown people, if that happened to them, no questioning, they getting shot on a response. Shot on right there on demand. Why is that? Do you think that's a coincidence? I say hell no to that. Okay? Because it happens way too often. The kid in Minnesota, I forget the guy's name offhand, but he had an assault rifle. He shot people. He's able to have his guns up, and he's arrested. Why is that? Why is that? Ridiculous. Let's see. Lewis also says, I don't think racism is learned as much as understanding is not taught. Understanding of each other, Lewis? Expand on that if you could, sir. And Gina says, after centuries, science tells us cells change. It is highly likely evil is molecular. Wow. Okay. And that's Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you so much, Lewis. Absolutely. Yeah. How is this guy? And I thank you for your thoughts on that, guys. Yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse. How is this guy able to shoot a couple of people? He's walking down the street with a loaded assault rifle, and he's taken in for charges. Anybody else? Anybody else? And the only exception I'll go with, a most recent exception, was the shooting of the black gentleman on the trains in Brooklyn. All right, they didn't bring him in. I mean, he was able to escape, but they brought him in on charge. They didn't shoot him on the premises, what have you. That's the only thing that I can think of. That's the only case that I can think of. But why is that the case? Is that coincidental? No way. Why is that the case, though? Again, I'm not saying an eye for an eye. We should be shooting these people on sight. But what the hell? I mean, the numbers are alarming. The numbers are alarming. The guy, Dylan Roof, right? Dylan Roof, I think it was, in South Carolina, goes into the church, kills all those people in the church. They bring him in for charges, give him 3 squares, 3 hots, and a cot. And he's able to live and talk about it. Bring him in for questioning. No way. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I do not think so at all. Let's see. Charlie says, yes, Kyle Rittenhouse, and that was Wisconsin. Yes, We've got a lot happening here, Russ. Not taking that one. Not taking that one in Minnesota. Yep. Not Got you on that, Charlie. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Minnesota, absolutely, as we saw, in the past. But there's a lot going on in this country too, Charlie. With racism and everything. This white supremacist. This guy was part of a white supremacist group. They're saying, man. And Lewis says, don't forget the Burger King one. Yes, the shooting in there. Wasn't there shooting in Burger King? Yes, absolutely. That one too. Yep. Thank you, Lewis. Absolutely. So, these kids are younger and younger doing this. And here's another question I have, okay? And maybe it's not for us to answer, but it could be like, like the president mentioned. I think a lot of times white people in general, like, what's going on with do they think that they're going to be replaced? So that's why, do they feel like black and brown people are a threat to them? This is crazy. It's a thought. President Biden mentioned it. Mentioned what I just read about. Stuff is rooted in fear. Fear. Is there a fear for white people who think that they're gonna be replaced? So maybe that's the reason why we go and try to erase like the black and brown race. I would love to get into a mind of a racist, or a white supremacist, and find out, what's your thoughts on this? Why are we doing what we do? Why are you doing what you're doing? Not me. Why are you doing what you're doing? Chris says, unfortunately, our system is built on evil behavior and white supremacy. It's been that way for years. Things haven't changed much. Yeah, that's true. I agree, Chris. Things haven't changed much. This country was built on racism. America, which we live in, was built on racism. You know? Racism isn't going anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere. And it's never going to go away. You know? It's never going to go away. But, you know, it's unfortunate because, you know, we can't run and hide. We got to go to supermarkets, right? You know, you got to live your life. But it's a shame that we have to live our life in, have your head on a swivel because you're black. Because you're black. Because another race is threatened by your blackness or brownness. That you might feel that you're going to be replaced. Is that it? I don't know. Charlie says it's troubling to live in a community or state that is predominantly white, and how many don't accept or believe that systemic racism exists. Drives me nuts. Hey, Charlie, and I appreciate your candor on that, Charlie, on that. And, systemic racism, yeah, that's alive and well, alive and kicking, you know. And Charlie, man, and I tell you, like, so for guys who don't know, Charlie is a really great friend of mine, you know, through Johnston. I used to work with Johnston's. You know, Charlie has his ear to the pulse. You know, Charlie is here representing, you know, just giving us some great talk, Charlie. And I really appreciate that, Charlie, you know, coming from your perspective on it, too. I really appreciate you doing this as well, you know. But this is, I don't know, man. It's really, really disheartening. My man, my cousin Lewis says, I think it's a fear of being a minority. I mean, I know you have had the talks and learned how to behave in a world not made for you. Yeah, you know, that's a great point, Lewis, because, you know, I think they said in the year 2030 or 2035, you know, white people is going to be the minority, okay? While the Hispanics are going to be the majority. Now, that could be the fear, like Lewis just mentioned. The fear of being the minority group, okay? That fear being like, you know, you're no longer leading. Who knows what's pumping, you know, in these white supremacist groups about this? You know, that could be it, though. Fear being the minority, where all these years you are the majority. So maybe you might think you're like useless. So, you know, you're not going to be, you're not prevalent in this society. Could it be that? You know, could it be, you know, everything is drawn on the internet and readings and all this stuff like that, you know, all this misinformation, you know, about the superior race, the white supremacy. Could be that as well. But yeah, you make a great point, Lewis. Could be as easy as said, yeah, they fear being the minority in this country. Let's see. Yup, Charlie says, appreciate that, Russ. That really means a lot. No, Charlie, I appreciate you, man, and I'm really so glad you're part of this discussion. So that's how you create change, by people having discussion, people who don't look like you, but you know, you have the great discussion about it, and to be open and honest and brave to have the discussion. So Charlie, I salute you on that as well. Chris also says, so when you are in authority position, there is always a fear of losing your spot. That's right. Yep. That's true, Smooth. That's true. You know, part of that authority position all along, whites were considered that authoritative position to be in that position of power. And when you lose that fear of it, you know, it could be alarming for some people. It could be shocking for some people. It could be fearful for some people, you know. But it's the way it is. White supremacists, white people like that, you know, it's the fear of that. You know, you're not going to be able to, you know, I just don't understand the thought process of this young man like this and other white supremacists. Because this was domestic terrorism, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. This was domestic terrorism that went down. What is the mentality of these people? Do they think they're going to What's their goal? They want to erase the black, the black race. Is that that your goal? Now this guy's life. Well, 10 people's lives are 10 families' lives are changed forever, and also this guy's family is changed forever. And I was also reading about this guy, like he had family members. They're saying they're blaming COVID because he just came out of a COVID bout. That COVID might have gave this guy, might have been one of the, the breaking points for him to do this. No. I'm not. No. We're not having that. We're not going for the banana in the tailpipe nonsense because that's just ridiculous. I don't know anybody who can make COVID. I mean, you can give me statistics out of the wild zoo, but I don't know any statistics saying if you have COVID, that's going to cause you to shoot black people. Haven't seen that yet. And you're not going to see that yet. Because that was preposterous that I read about the guy's family members saying this guy just had a bout of COVID. So now that caused him to go on a breaking point. No, this was planned. This was calculated. This guy lived 3 hours away from this supermarket to do this. Scouted it beforehand. He knew what he was doing. Trying to eliminate the black race. I guess do his share, do his part in it. And again, I stress this. This isn't old racism, Transition Army. This is new wave racism. 18 years old. 18 years old. But again, he had the right to be taken in for questioning. He wasn't shot up on the premises. Coincidence? I don't think so. I do not think so. Charlie goes on to say, I think the politics of grievance has a lot to do with it. My life isn't perfect and I don't take responsibility for my problems. So it's easier to blame someone, especially someone who doesn't look like me. Well said there, Charlie. Well said there. Yep. Lewis says, sounds like shades of influenza. Yeah. I got you, Lewis, on that. Yeah, man. It's, no excuses. Yeah. For people, these white supremacist groups, there's no excuses for it. But I really like to take the stance that, that President Biden took. He just says, again, I'm going to read it again. If you just joined us, I'll read the quote again. He says, in America, evil will not win. I promise you. Hate will not prevail. White supremacy, and he stressed it and he said it, white supremacy will not have the last word. The evil did come to Buffalo, and it's come to all too many people, manifested in gunmen who massacre innocent people in the name of hateful and perverse ideologies rooted in fear and racism. You got the President of the United States is saying about how white supremacists, their ammo, they operate in fear and they operate in racism. This is the President of the United States saying that. True statements. Fearful. Cowardless acts. That's all this is, cowardless acts. So you want to shoot and you want to eliminate people who do not look like you, like Charlie said. How much sense does that make? But again, is this learned? Is this passed on like an heirloom, like I mentioned earlier? How does this exist? How does this exist in a young person who's 18, whereas, I can have more understanding of a person who was older with this ideology. But these people are getting younger and younger, and the recruitment process is getting younger and younger for younger people, for this white supremacist, this domestic terrorism. So that's exactly what it is, domestic terrorism. They're getting younger and younger. Lewis also says Biden is saying the right things, but not doing enough. Well, Lewis, he is saying the right things, but what can he do? Any suggestions? Because what can he do? Like, what can we do? Well, I have an idea, and I'm sure you can typing this in as we speak, Lewis. I'm sure gun reform, right? Maybe come down with the gun reform. Maybe legislation to come down with gun reform. But I tell you this with the gun reform, until something hits home in these senators' homes or something like that, probably nothing's going to be done. But if something's done in their homes or happens to their families, I'm not a betting man, but I bet you this: reforms will be changed for gun reform. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, Lewis, I know you typing away. You're probably going to mention something with guns, a gun reform. Okay? But what else? What can he do? But what we can do, you know, and again, I think it's also a question, you know, Lewis, that you bring up is, you know, what can the president do? Has he done? He hasn't done enough. But again, we got to look at ourselves. What can we do? You know, what can we do? And again, it's and here's the deal, Transition Army. When I say we as me, as black people, we don't have to do anything. That's not our job. That's not our job. It's the jobs of people who are white supremacists, people who are racist. They have to change. So it's nothing we can do. It's nothing we have to do. The thing we can do is keep living our lives the best way we can. But that's not up to us to change or make change. Us as black people or brown people. That's not on us. It's on those people who are white supremacists, those people who are evil, those people who are racist to make the change. And that's going to take a while. Shoot, racism might not, well, we might not even see a change in racism. I mean, the total change in racism ever. Because this might be something that might never change. That's the bottom line of it. We might not see it in our lifetimes. Lewis says, 18 is young, but think back, 18 is old enough to know better. And it isn't guns, but why aren't these hate groups targeted? Can you expand on that a little bit, Lewis, for me? So Lewis says Black Panthers, hate group, KKK, good people. Nah, definitely not that, Lewis. Black Panthers, you know what they did for the Black Panthers, especially in California, what they did, they was giving out free lunch. They had a free lunch program, after school program. I say that's good. You don't see that in the KKK movement. Burning crosses, having people killed, lynched. That's not good. Black Panthers did good for the communities in which they served. In Chicago, definitely in California as well. Lewis says it's 2022. Why is the KKK still legal? That's true. Did you guys know, Transition Army, did you guys know one of the biggest headquarters of the KKK is in Southampton, Long Island? Did you guys know that? Still alive and kicking in the Northeast. Just saying. Just saying. Little food for thought. Why is that the case? Why is that the case in which the KKK is still alive and well, and why the Black Panthers were demolished and abolished? Just saying. They said people in high places might be the most racist. I was around there. People in high places, they might be the biggest racists. And that's why it continues to be. That's why you have KKK groups and militias like that. Yeah, the state of Illinois, mainly in Chicago. Chicago, they had the big programs with the Black Panthers there, Lewis. We got Keisha joining us on the check-in from the D. What up, though? What's going on, cousin? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. If you just missed us, and everybody just joining us, if you just missed us, we talking, we having some conversation. We having some candid conversation. We having some honest conversation about domestic terrorists. What went down at the Buffalo supermarket, the shooting of 10 people shot deliberately because they were black by a domestic terrorist, by a white supremacist who was 18 years old. Not that old racism, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. This is the new blood. The new blood that's coming in. Something to think about, you know. Again, let's come up with solutions. What do you guys think? What can we do? What can be a solution to this? How can we transition to a better way of living with this? How can we stomp out white supremacy? Anybody got any solutions out there? Let's see. Gina says, yep, it's a learned behavior. Hold on. Oh, no. Hold on a second. I think we had Gina say that already. Hold on a second. Let me scroll down. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Yep. So, yeah, it's frustrating. You know, this, you know, it's frustrating. It's, you know, what can you say, man? It's really sad. It's sad because people are so fearful, like we talked about earlier. Like people astutely said, people are, you know, sometimes these race are fearful that they're going to be replaced. Is that the reason why we trying to mope out a group of people for no reasons at all? I mean, what's the goal? What's the end goal? What's the end game there? By this one guy, or these white supremacist groups? Like, what's the end? What's the end game there? You know. So now this guy's life is done. His life is done. Lewis says, "Real talk. I am actually afraid to leave my own house, and I don't have a solution." Hey, I appreciate the real talk, Lewis. Yeah, I get afraid as well too. You know. But we got to live our lives, though, Lewis. That's the advice I would say. We got to live our lives. You know, we got to go to supermarkets. You got to go to work. You got to live your life the best you can, man, the best way you can. And, you know, but the fear is there. And I really appreciate you saying that, Lewis, because that's, you know, that's real talk and that's honest talk. And I appreciate you do saying that because, yeah, I'm just like you. I'm afraid as well, you know, walking out your door. You just never know, you know, shopping anywhere. Supermarket, going anywhere, you know, it's the fear of that, and that's fear, and that fear is real when you black or brown in this country, and that's a daily fear, that's a daily trauma, you know. Speaking of trauma, think about all the trauma that went down in there, you know, these events here caused mental, you know, man, the mental state of people, you know, the traumatic effect on people, and this affects people. You know, this affects me. This affects everybody. I wasn't even, you know, I'm miles away from there in Buffalo. You know, and it affects people. You know, and the trauma of it all. You know, that's what these white supremacists. That's what they inflict. They inflict trauma on people. But my advice, Lewis, is you got to live your life, though, man. But I appreciate your honesty. But you gotta go on. We gotta go on and live our lives to the best we can, the best we can, you know. And like Biden says, hey, in America, evil will not win. And you know, kudos to him shouting out, you know, talking about white supremacy. He's not hiding from it, you know. White supremacists is alive and kicking, you know. And there's some, you know, in politics. And some people tell me, you know, why talk about politics? Politics is engulfed in everything we do, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army. That's why I talk about politics. And politics is a major vehicle, too, and how things have changed. Right now, it's going through elections right now, you know, for senates and stuff like that. I'm watching on TV and stuff like that, you know. So politics is deep-rooted in it. Some people benefit, the white supremacists benefit from some of these politicians believe this, you know. Everything is woven around politics. So that's why we talk about that here. I remember I had some guy calling me, yeah, why you talking about politics? You don't know? No. Everything is involved with politics. Believe that. So we will continue talking about politics and other things as well. Politics too. Lewis says the saddest part to me personally was the older people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I you know, Lewis, and thank you for bringing that up. I was reading about one lady. She was, you know, getting some, I think it was some strawberries to make a strawberry cake for the family. Oh man, yeah, the older people, you know, just in the raft of that, the guy that's just like aimlessly like spraying the whole supermarket. It's just depressing about that. Our elders who are out here, taking care of us, and we trying to take care of them. We try to take care of each other, and that happens to them. And Charlie says, man, I am just so sorry that you guys, that anyone has to be in fear. The number one freedom we all must have is freedom from fear. Got to make this better. Yep. But I tell you what, Charlie, how we make this better is what we're doing now. Us having dialogue about it. The tough dialogue, because it's tough. It's just tough to do. But having the dialogue, because if we don't talk about this, we'll never get any solutions to the problem. Because this is a major problem. But again, we got people like my guy Charlie. And Charlie, I appreciate you having this conversation with us here on Transition Army, and everybody else involved in too. Just talking about it, having a dialogue, having the honest conversation. Because as you guys know, that's what we do here on Transition Tuesday. We have the honest conversation. So, just be safe out here, ladies and gentlemen. Transition Army, let's just be safe. Let's be diligent out here. We got to have the uncomfortable conversation about it. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, we got to talk about this because, again, white supremacy is alive and well, and it's not going anywhere. But it's all about maybe coming up with solutions, and those solutions come about by having conversation, honest conversations, which we do here on Transition Tuesdays, each and every Tuesday. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you, well, not so much this time today, but laugh, smile, but more importantly today, if we were able to make you think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have been, I'm trying to think, man, I'm so flustered sometimes. You have accomplished something major today, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, so celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. Let's get the theme music going. Yes. There we go. All right. Perfect. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, thank you for watching Transition Army, Transition Tuesdays, Transition Army, each and every Tuesday here. And do me a favor, guys. You guys can always catch this show and past episodes on our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays. And when you're there, please like and subscribe, okay? Please like and subscribe it, okay? Before you leave the channel, make sure you do that, okay? And I want to give a shout out to my esteemed panelists. As a panelist today, I want to give you guys a shout out. I want to give the Transition Army. That's you. That's you over there listening. That's the new person just came aboard. You are part of the Transition Army. And I want to give you love and praise and claps. That is for you. And you over there, you listening. Tell a friend to tell a friend about Transition Tuesdays. Let's continue. All right? All righty. Let me get back on here. There we go. We didn't have a guest today, but, oh yeah, we did, the Transition Army. And I'm going to do something real quick too. But guess the Transition Army, whatever. Guess the Transition Tuesdays. All right. Receive a candy gift pack, compliments of Sweet Candy Cafe, which is our sponsor. Sweet Candy Cafe is the home of Southern sweetness, located in downtown Lumberton, North Carolina. So after the show, head to sweetcandycafe.com and purchase your confectionery goodies because they ship home and abroad. All right? So make sure you do that. And let me do this while everybody's still on the line. All righty? While everybody who's still on the line. The first person who can inbox me their full name and their mailing address, I will get them a complimentary candy gift pack. Compliments to Sweet Candy Cafe. So do that before you sign off, okay? First person, name, full name, mailing address, we'll get that to you, okay? That's what we do here on Transition Army, okay? I keep saying Transition Army. You guys are the Transition Army on Transition Tuesdays, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless. Oh, and let's end it off. I want to end off the show what Charlie mentioned. Okay, and I'm going to pull that up. And we're going to end the show on that. Let me turn down the music on that. 1 second. Bear with me. Okay, because I think this is important. So Charlie says, man, I am just so sorry that anyone has to be in fear. The number one freedom we all have is freedom from fear. Gotta make this better. Charlie, I appreciate your sentiments, Charlie. That's why I wanted to end it off the show with that quote from Charlie, my good friend Charlie. Thank you guys. Thank you for the dialogue. Okay, as we do each and every Tuesday here on Transition Tuesdays, we have honest conversation with tough topics, but we're going to get through it, and we get through it together. God bless, guys. Take care.